Woj, it's point guard mania. Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, Kemba Walker, Spencer Dinwiddie, Mike Conley, Lonzo Ball, Dennis Schroder, Derrick Rose, Eric Bledsoe. So many could be on the move. Let's start with the Lakers, who have a big decision to make with Dennis Schroder, turned down a big money extension. They don't really have an easy way to replace him, despite the fact that he had a slightly disappointing season. What could we see from Tinseltown?
Well, as you said, Schroder turned down that 4-year, $84 million extension, which was the most the Lakers could offer him during the season, knowing that there was more out for him in free agency. And you have teams like Chicago and New York with cap space, New Orleans trying to create the cap space to go get a big point guard, perhaps Dallas in that mix. But listen, I think people have to look back at this postseason with Dennis Schroder. And remember, he had COVID late in the year and was out for 10 days and not in the gym and sick, and then showed up and played in the playoffs. The performance wasn't there, but we saw plenty of other players in the league who went through that at different points in the year. They traded for him from Oklahoma City a year ago with the idea that they would re-sign him. And as you said, they cannot replace him if he leaves. They have literally offered Kyle Kuzma and KCP to almost every team I've talked to in the league has been offered some combination of Kuz and KCP, sometimes both of them, one of them, and that's not going to get them back a point guard of Dennis's stature. And so I think, listen, he's got options again. Chicago, New York. I still think in the end there's a deal to be made for him to stay with the Lakers because all of a sudden now you're talking about could we go get Ricky Rubio, like some good players, but I still think Schroder is a player who moves the needle, and let's get him out of a COVID season, get him back with a training camp with this team, and it's probably going to look a lot different.
They need another playmaker to take some of the load from LeBron. That was the idea. They badly need that playmaker to be able to shoot better than Dennis Schroder can shoot and shot last year. Finding that player is going to be very difficult for them. You can start making up double sign-in trades with Schroder for another free agent point guard. Those are very complicated deals. There is another point guard who can shoot really well, but is probably out of the Lakers' price range, and that's Chris Paul, who has a 40-something million
44
player option with the Phoenix Suns. Just made the finals with them. Wants to be near his family on the West Coast. Phoenix checked that box. Where do we stand with CP3 in free agency?
That is a fascinating question in this offseason, because remember, it's not just Chris Paul, but they've got Cameron Payne they have to pay to keep. They have extension eligible DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges. DeAndre Ayton is going to want a max contract, and he's going to get it next year in restricted free agency if you don't give it to him now. Mikal Bridges might be a $20 million a year player. Now I don't
think there's a might be there. I think he's going to get paid a lot of money.
Absolutely. Now you can push those guys off a year and deal with restricted free agency, but this is a test for Robert Sarver and his willingness to spend. It is not inconceivable that Chris Paul opts out of that contract and comes into this free agent market, and then all of a sudden the Suns are competing with everybody else and other options, and he has a lot more options in free agency right now than he had trade options coming out of OKC last year, even at 36 years old.
Well, that would be a huge story. And like you said, they have a year window left where Bridges and Ayton are on their rookie deals. The pain financially comes in the next year.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.